mind treatment. So I invite you to take a breath, let it out so you don't explode, and continue breathing in a deep, relaxing, rhythmic way. And in those deep breaths, we simply release any distractions. Anything that we may have carried into the parking lot with us or even brought into this room that does not serve us and being the best us ever, we just let it go and release it. And in that state of newness and openness, we embrace the idea that there is a presence and a power that is all things, in and through all things, manifests as all things, all people, each and every one of us, in us, as us, is us now. And knowing that we are a point in the expression of the divine, we know that whatever God is, we are. And so we open up our awareness to this idea that we are a being of spirit, a spiritual being, living a life of spirit, a spiritual life. We open up to this idea that the best of life is ours by divine inheritance. We open up to this idea of vibrant health and abundant prosperity, total and wild success, overflowing love and joy. And as we open up to that idea, that ideal, we embrace it more and more by giving it energy, by giving it view. And it manifests in our life because it's always from the inner to the outer. And so right here and right now, we claim lives of health and prosperity and love and joy, success and wholeness of all kinds, and simply release that thought, knowing that thought sets law in action, and then it is manifest in our lives. So we've done our work. This class is great. We let this go, and together we say,
and so it is.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Come on in. Is there anyone who was not here last week? Wonderful. Tricia, Dory, Steve, Kristen, Fran.
I was not here.
Are you saying you were not here last week?
Yeah.
Okay, good. There are, Jane, hold that up again. There are books in the back that we have printed. If it's easier for you to have a printed out book, that one can be yours for a mere $10. Otherwise, go to our website and download it into one of your techie things, whether it's a phone or a pad or a computer or whatever it is that you use. You can download it and read it electronically, or you can Google it on Amazon and find a copy of the book. Just be very mindful that it has not been abridged, because since it's in public domain, someone can comment on it and then claim it as their own and sell it. So they can actually change it like crazy and still call it Creative Mind and Success by Ernest Holmes. So I would invite you to just be careful if you're going to go out and buy one. I know that the books on Barnes & Noble are print on demand, and they've got, a dozen of different Creative Mind and Successes. And who knows what they're printing out there, and then they're going to mail it to you. Isn't it fascinating? When you think of a printing press, don't you think of those big things that just print out millions of pieces of paper? They don't do that anymore. They print one book. And it's a book. It's a real book. Looks like a book. But they just print out one for you. Don't you feel special? I did. I thought it was fantastic to print me out one book, all for me.
Is it different than this one?
No, that's it, Jane. You got it. There you go, Jane. I mean, if it says Creative Mind and Success.
It doesn't, just says creative mind, a metaphysical.
No, it's not the same then. That's the class we just finished, Creative Mind.
Okay.
That's Creative Mind and Success. And he's going into this idea of success in your life. And we're going to talk about that in tonight's class. He talks about business and how to increase sales and things like that. And I'm reading it and going, oh, right, that's the success part of Creative Mind and Success. Oh, boy. So those of you who weren't here last week, I think the class is up on the website, and if you want to watch it or listen to it, you can do that already. Get yourself a book some way and keep up. It's not a lot of reading. They're not big pages. so 15 or 20 little pages is not a lot of reading, but I find that, I find some of the things that he says to be so clear. And this is a basic class, so we're not doing anything complicated, which I also appreciate. It took me a good 10 years to figure out some of the basics. And I was reading and studying and still it's like, wait a minute, that's my thought. I could have had a good day, kind of thing. So I don't want to complicate things or make them hard to understand. And personally, I find, especially when things are not going great for me, the simpler the better. To get back to doing what I need to do to have the life I want to live means to think the thoughts that I want to think so that I can have the life that I want to live. And usually by then, I have stopped thinking the thoughts that I want to think that will give me the life that I want to live, and I've gone into random reactive thoughts. But it's interesting, as the years go by, the faster I get myself back and get on course, the faster my life works out. So are there any questions or comments about last week? Didn't I give you homework?
Yes.
I gave you quite a bit of homework, didn't I?
Yeah.
Other than that?
Practice being selfish.
Yes, I did. I know sometimes I get the Monday night and the Tuesday morning class confused. I did. I asked you to practice being selfish. How was that for you? Bart?
I took the last cookie from open house where Charlie went, and I went down with him, and they had
Open Door
Open
Center
Door.
for Spiritual Living in Silva.
in Silva,
Uh-huh.
and there was one cookie left, and I thought of you and I said, taking the cookie?
Yay! Because when you say, no, I don't take the last cookie because someone else may want it and they are more important than me, and I live in a limited universe where there's only one cookie and I can't have it, then you're setting the entire creative process of all of life in motion, saying, I don't get it, I don't deserve it, there's not enough, somebody else is more important. So way to take the last cookie, good for you. Who else? Darcy and then Rick.
I treated myself to a new set of cookware, stainless steel.
I love good cookware. Good for you, good for you.
Yeah, and the nice thing was that it was with a 20% off coupon, and I bought a few other things, and the girl said, oh, here, I took some money off those too. So I'm like, okay, great.
God is in the coupon. Good. If you're gonna cook on good stuff. Rick?
Yeah, I came home Sunday after being here, and my wife was having a good time out there playing the ball. And she said, you can come out and join me if you want to. And I kind of had my heart set on reading some of this book. And I started to, and I thought, wait a minute, am I just trying to please her, or am I? So I said, no, thank you. I want to go in here and chill out and read this book for a while. I did.
Hey, Rick. I find it very disheartening when someone does something that they don't want to do, and then they're not happy, and they think that that's winning points with me. No, your unhappiness is a drag. So don't bring it around me under the guise that you're trying to please me. I would much rather have you say, no, I want to go read this book, and then she's done planting bulbs, you're done reading, and you come together all happy. Yay, yay. It was Kathy. Kathy had your hand up.
I always wanted to go to a fancy salon and get my hair done and everything, so I did it. I went to this really expensive salon, and they had, she designs your hair for your face and all this stuff, but the bad thing is, they give you wine, and they keep giving you wine.
Good, bad.
Yeah, and they give you nails, and they go, do you want this? I'm like, sure.
That's why they give you
So
one.
I went at 7 o'clock at night. I didn't get out of there until 11.
Oh my God.
Totally. I came up to the register, $300.
That was some expensive wine. And
It
you
was
live in
fun.
an abundant universe.
That's right.
So claim that back from life.
That's right.
Yeah,
It
good
was
for you.
cool. It was, they were doing my nails, giving me wine, doing my hair. I'm like, I think it used to be.
Yes. And I know you created a pension for the rest of your life in a company you haven't worked for 20 years. You can do anything, Pat. Yes. Who else? Breezy.
I actually ordered 2 pairs of shoes today.
Yay! Is that selfish?
Well, it's so hard for me to find shoes and stuff, I just,
So it's selfish to the person inside of you who says, I don't do that.
it's just hard finding them, because usually if I order 10 pairs, maybe one more fit.
That's great. I'm happy that you ordered shoes. Part of being selfish has to do with somebody else. You know, like taking that. I want to encourage you to pit yourself against someone in a good way and say, I am just as important as you. Because most of us say, I am not as important as you. So if you don't buy shoes because they're hard to fit and you just don't get around to it and you're the person who doesn't get any shoes, great, great. Get your shoes, take your $300 spa appointment. Good for you. Take that in life so that you are saying, I have great value in the universe. I am an important person in the universe. He talks about success. Now, do successful people, are they wimps? No. Do they say, oh, you don't need to buy that from me. You go along down the road to somebody better. No. They put themselves in your face and say, this is the best thing ever, and I am the perfect and right person for you to do business with. And to do that, you have to have a good sense of self-esteem and self-worth. Jane.
I bought a new car, and I had my Subaru for 13 years, and I couldn't get through the emissions test. And it was driving me crazy, and everybody else, the mechanics, crazy. And I thought, why don't I just get a new car? And so when I got the car, I couldn't quite understand the odometer and all this kind of stuff, and I thought, well, I bought a car, and it's a lemon. Well, it wasn't a lemon. It was just a great car, everything in it worked, but I couldn't figure, it was so different from the Subaru, I just couldn't figure it out. So I thought, well, I'm being punished because I went and I bought this car, and it doesn't work, and it's no good. And
So
that
take
was
us to the end.
Huh?
Take us to the end.
Well, and so that was a form of self-punishment for
Do you
mine.
still think you're being punished?
No, because I had a couple of friends look at it and explain some stuff, and now I just think it's the luckiest.
That's the win. Now you think it's the luckiest car in the world.
Yeah.
And it's pretty, Jane. It's this vibrant turquoise green color out there that's just beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Good
yeah.
for you. Buy a new car. Who else? Kristen.
I wasn't here last week, but I heard about the whole being selfish thing from some friends. So I have an appointment to get my nails done tomorrow. And I also finally cut somebody toxic out of my life that I've been like, I keep going back to because I'm like, oh, no.
Yay!
All my friends are very happy about
And I know that.
that was me being selfish.
Barbaraism. Your yeses mean nothing if you cannot say no.
Right.
Yeah. So good for you. Cut them out. And this is all lovely and great about doing stuff all enclosed in yourself. I really do want you, like Bart, there's one cookie, there's a room full of people. Where am I in the room full of people? Am I on the bottom because that's the way life will treat you? Am I on the top because that's the way life will treat you? Am I equal? And I'm closest to the cookie, so I'm getting it because that's the way life will treat you. And what is the whole thought process that puts you in the point of choice? Is it that you live in a limited universe? That there's only one cookie? That if you don't keep your 13-year-old car, you're punished? You know, how are you taking those basic beliefs and translating them into stories that then affect your actions and your choices in life? Because if you have the entire universe bowing down to you and saying, I will give you whatever you want, and you are saying, no, I don't deserve anything, then the universe says, great, and I will give you that. I will give you nothing because that's what you think you deserve. So this is a wonderful first step, and I'm fascinated to hear about how it works with somebody else. Susan.
Oh, I was going on to your next assignment, which was to be aware and sense the energy
Right.
of people or one person around me, developing intuition, but I could wait.
No, let's go.
I realize that the people close to me are all invited by love. And they really are. I'm very blessed to have them, and they're very supportive and loving and caring and willing to hear me and be with me. I realize people around the periphery, I have a lot of negative chatter and opinions about them.
And did you sense that and feel how it affected you?
Yeah, because it has to be a reflection of me. So I was aware of that.
Otherwise, there would be negative chatter around the periphery and you wouldn't notice it.
I definitely noticed, I even said it out loud. Yeah, am I judgmental here? I have something to say about everybody, don't I? Yeah.
Yes, we do. Well, that's good because that's so important for you to get a sense of who you are and how you're operating. Because if you are the manifestation point of your life, which you are, then everything in your life is a reflection back to you, and you can deal only in mind, or you can play out in the world. You can see what you're doing and then make choices and changes and have different experiences in your life. And I think each one is equally valid.
Yeah, and those people close to me, loving, supporting, I am over the top grateful. Just so grateful that they're there. I'm so aware and just really filled with gratitude and very willing to express it to them. Yeah.
Good for you. Good for you. Remember we were talking about how important it is to know who we are and how we are in the world, what we bring to the mix, that kind of thing. Who else? Who's got something to share? Sandy and then Becca.
I just realized that I did both homework assignments at the same time, sort of. I had spent some time with my brother, and they were talking about some negative medical whatever. And then yesterday, after all the fun we had yesterday at the celebration, I then went out to brunch with some friends from here. And my brother was like, "Are you gonna come out for dinner?" And I was like, no. I wanted to stay in the space that I was in.
Good, so
Yeah.
that fulfills the selfish assignment
Yes, it
in that, no, doing that would be like Rick going against what I want to do and thinking that I need to do this for your approval and love. This is what I want to do, and you did it because you were aware of the energy around you. Good for you, Becca.
Thursday, the apartment complex that we live at had a community dinner. And when we got there, we were asking the assistant manager, I was asking if he had any word on when Publix would be opening. And talk about coincidence. Yeah, that was so my mission is within a minute and a half, because he said, yeah, some people just moved here that are gonna be working for the Publix. So I do have a little bit, and he got to about that point when a very nice lady walked through the door who works for Publix.
She had a name tag on.
Yeah, and so it's like I had the intuition to ask him about it, which brought her into the energy field. And not only does she work for Publix and they're opening in mid-April, she's their event planner.
Wow.
So we will be getting together with her to look at the wedding cake situation, because I've had that on the brain. So it was like, okay, it's not coincidence. I brought this energy in and it's all right.
Good. So you were saying, I can ask this person who doesn't have any sense that they might know what I'm looking for, but I'm gonna put it out there and just ask. Some people might see that as pushy. You shouldn't put people out or try to get your needs met. God, don't you remember growing up? Don't try to get your needs met. Don't be pushy. Don't be loud. Don't ask. And as if that did any good, then you can be ignored, which is exactly what we create then. So you went to a place and said, hey you know when Publix is opening? No. Hey you, do you know when Publix is opening? No. Hey you, do you? Oh, thank you. And one of the things about getting what you want in life is being willing to put yourself out and ask. To be able to ask to have your needs met, just because you want them. You know, you don't have to defend it, you don't have to explain it. People try to explain to me why they want what they want. You don't need to explain it. The very fact that you want it is good enough. And so as you elevate your own sense of value, the universe values you more. And what happens when the universe values you more?
Not only did I get to meet someone who knew about the information I was asking, I met the person I was going to speak to in regards to taking care of a future and everything.
So not only did you get what you wanted, but you got more.
I got icing on the cake.
You got icing on your cake. You've been waiting to use that one. So when you value yourself more, then you create life giving you back more value. And I always tell people when they come to me and say, well, I'm having money issues or prosperity issues, well, the outer value is simply a reflection of the inner value. So where are you not valuing yourself? Where are you dissing yourself? And then creating that with other people discounting you. Because if you're clear about who you are, you will ask for what you want in such a clear and concise way, not giving up until you get it, not as a bulldozer or as an awful person. You don't do it with any malice, but you do it with the idea that I am just as important as everyone else here, and I want what I want. I don't have to wait in line unless you're at a deli, but I don't have to wait in line for the universe to get around to giving me what I want. It's okay for me to want. And that's one of the lessons that I think in particular women learn over the years, that you don't have to defend it, you don't have to explain it. The very fact that you have a desire for something is a good enough reason for you to get what you want, whether it's a $300 spa night or a new car or a new husband or the job that you want or respect around you or something like that. That's always a reflection on the inside, but sometimes we think that we've got to keep it all inside, and then the outside is going to change without us having to take any action. Does that make sense? That's why I'm pushing you to take some action in your life. Are you asking a question, Jane?
I'm thinking about money.
Okay. So one of the things that he's talking about in this book is the idea of taking action, and taking action in your life. And keep in mind, he wrote it 100 years ago, pretty literally. And he talks about being in business. And when he's in business, he talks about doing stuff. Don't just sit there and get depressed. That if you sit there and get depressed, you create a sluggishness in your life. He says that people who are active in their thoughts are active in their physical bodies. And that if you are not active in your physical body, you need to get active in your body and in your thought. And he said, if you've got a business that nobody's coming in, rearrange everything. Get up and move. Pretend like people are coming in. Move all of your stock around. Clean everything. Why do you think he's saying that? You're changing the energy. Compare that to sitting there, looking at the bills, looking at the clock. Nobody wants to come in. I am a failure. Now, if you go there, you're going to be creating those exact circumstances from your life. Keeping in mind that spirit cannot fail. You know you have never failed? What a break. You have never done anything wrong. You've done some stupid things, but you've not done anything wrong. And I say that as a joke, but nobody laughed. You've never done anything wrong. How could spirit do something wrong? You've simply done whatever it is you did. I love the idea that if you could have done anything different, you would have, and since you didn't, you couldn't. Given the circumstances and what you had to work with, that was the only choice you could have made. And as you learned and grew, you made different choices. And people say, well, I wouldn't do that again. Well, I would hope not. You have more choices. You have more awareness to move yourself forward in life. So you haven't done anything wrong. You haven't made any mistakes, and you cannot fail. But what we can do is we can slow the process down until creation gets very sluggish. And one of the things he's saying is get up. Get up and do something. Get up and have some activity in your life. Have something that the creative force can move through you with. Another thing he says that I find fascinating is he says, as you're working on your prosperity, simply claim enough for the day. And I thought, well, I like that more than enough. You know, I like that concept, more than enough. He said, if you claim more than enough, that which you cannot use that day will become sluggish. And I was thinking about that, and what I'm thinking is people who have lots of investments that they're holding on to for later, like you shouldn't have investments, that's fine, but you don't want the energy to get sluggish. You don't want to have all of your good holding on to that one thing, and because of that, you're not doing anything. So he said, as you're moving along your road to prosperity, know that you have know that you have enough for today. And that's a step. And don't go from, not having enough money to put gas in your car and buying food to wanting millions of dollars put away so you don't have to worry about it, so you can just hold on to that and wait and become sluggish. He's saying you need to have movement, both in your flow of things coming into your life and out of your life, and your flow of your energy in your world, in your business, in your activities. And in that flow and that movement, he says creation happens. Breezy.
Is that in the same vein as declutter, so you have room for stuff to come in?
Sure. If I hold on to something that hasn't fit me for 10 years that I no longer like because one day it might fit and I might like it again, that's sluggish energy. Getting it out and having someone find it in a Goodwill or a secondhand shop and going, this is fantastic. That's a movement of energy. That's creative. They get it, I get it, and then that movement is happening all around me, and one of the byproducts might be that I get more clothing. It might be that I get shoes. It might be that I get a new car. It might be that I get new people in my life, but there's a movement and a creative force and a flow going on in life. And so what we want to do is we want to be active. We want to be active in our thoughts. We want to be active in our words. We want to constantly claim that which we want to have in life. Not just once, but have it over and over and over and over again. Have it be our mantra, our thoughts. That we're only going to focus on that which we choose to experience and get that energy going. Sometimes I talk to people and they are so stuck in the past. They're stuck in their stories, and they've told them so many times. They're really good stories, and they've got the pausing and the punctuation, and they've got the names, and they've told this story so many times, but they are stuck. They're stuck. And so, like the clothes in the closet, what does it take to let that go? Go confront someone. If you're really mad at someone, don't suppress your feelings. Go tell them off. Write them a letter. Doesn't matter even if they're dead or not. Get that energy moving so you can let it go. Go pound a pillow. Tennis racket and a pillow is great because the tennis racket lets the air go through so you can do it really fast, and it makes a big whoosh and then a whack. It's very fulfilling. But why do we do that? We get the energy out. We get the energy out so that we're not holding on to the past, which makes us sluggish and slows down the creative process. Life is moving literally at lightning speed, faster than light. And so we want to step up our game a little bit to get in alignment with all of these creations. If you've been trying to create something for a long time and it hasn't happened, I submit that you're sluggish. You're constipated. In your energy, you're holding on to the past. And in that slowing down phase, you can't speed up and get what you want to get. And I like to get what I want to get. Do you have a question?
Yeah, sort of, yeah. I do have a question. I've been a bowls player for like 5 years or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first started, I was terrible, and I couldn't do it.
You were.
Yeah.
You were awful, Jane.
I know it, I know it, it's true. And I practiced.
You did. Every day this woman came in here and practiced playing the bowl.
Yeah, because little children would come in and they played much better than I could.
You're one of the best bowl players we've ever had now, because you were willing to take action.
Yeah, because I wanted to, and to me, I wanted to make a gift to the center, and I don't have too many talents, and I just thought, gee, well, hitting a bowl, maybe that's not possible for me.
No. See, you've got your story where you like to make people laugh. The truth is, Jane, you love those bowls.
Oh, yeah.
I remember you loved the bowls.
I
And
do.
you wanted to be able to play them at the same level as your love for them.
Yeah,
And that's what dragged you in here every day.
and I practiced and I got fairly good. I got good. So, but what's happened is this, is that the head of the bowls, and I don't know who the head of the bowls is.
Don't go off on tangents,
Okay.
just come on.
Anyway, I was told by a friend that I should, they only want me to play the bowls once a month.
And why is that?
And because a whole lot of other people have come and want to play the bowls.
I know, isn't that great?
Yeah, but it's not true.
Yes, it
And
is.
so what, I said, okay, because to me that
Okay,
makes sense.
I feel like we just got in a triangle, which I don't want to be in, so
No.
what's the end point?
No, so the end point is that, I'm in this situation where I'm miffed because the people, the bowlers need, they don't, it's a lie, kind of a lie that they.
So we're jumping to the end, Jane, because I think we went from this great story to not a great story, and I'm confused as to the point.
Well, the point is that I've gotten very judgmental about the bowls because.
And isn't it interesting that as you get more judgmental about the people involved in the bowls, the
Yeah.
less you play?
No, I play on the third Sunday of every.
Right, but you used to play every week, and isn't that the way that it works? The more we bring judgment into it, the less we get to experience what we want. I have found the best way to make someone leave this center is to criticize them in my head. I might as well give them a plane ticket to somewhere else. I can make someone stop working here by just criticizing them in my head, so I have to be really careful about how I allow the judgment to rule me. So here you've got this self-awareness. What, Jane, do you bring to the mix? And how are you creating your reality? How are you moving energy? Now, we can move energy in a positive way and a negative way. Getting upset with one or more people moves energy, except instead of bringing us towards something, it pushes us away from them. And there may be a story and there may be a reason and it may make perfect sense, but the truth is that we allowed ourselves to be offended, to be in judgment, to be critical, to be upset. And when we do that, we pay the price of having whatever it is we have that energy about moving away from us. Haven't you ever broken up a perfectly good relationship by becoming critical of the person? That is the fastest way to break up a relationship. Start criticizing that person. Well, what happened? Well, you did.
But I haven't been doing that, and I.
Sure you have, Jane. You're very critical.
Well, I keep it to myself.
Jane, you're just like everybody else. Something happens that isn't the way you want it to happen, and we immediately go into judgment. Even if you never let the words out of your mouth, the words are still creating. And so as we go into judgment, no matter who it is or what the story is, we push away that which we want. And it takes a lot for you to go, I really want that. But it doesn't seem like they want me. But I'm going to take the high road because this is what I bring to the mix. I bring clarity, I bring love, I bring joy. I am not going to allow myself to fall into the abyss of having my feelings hurt, of becoming emotionally aggressive towards someone by thinking ill thoughts about them. Ernest calls that malpractice. If you see anybody as less than God in form, that is malpractice. Especially once you know of the power of your word and your thought, if you still indulge yourself in the limiting experience of being critical and judgmental and angry at someone, you're doing malpractice and you will pay. You will pay. Everybody does. So what we allow ourselves to do is to say, Nothing is real unless I make it real. I'm the one making it real. Nothing can hurt me unless I allow it to hurt me. Ernest says, refuse to have the feelings hurt. Refuse to receive anyone's criticism or condemnation. In the independence of your own mentality, know that you are wonderful. It's not conceit, it's the truth. For what can be more wonderful than the manifestation of infinite spirit as you? Nothing is real unless you make it real. And so if you want to be rejected and go through, you don't like me, nobody likes me,
Well, I mean, I don't do that,
but you're angry.
but I am angry, well, I'm angry because I felt I was lied to.
Well, then you need to bring that up with the person that you're angry with and get it out in the open.
I don't know who they.
Go to one of the meetings, sit in a circle, say, what's going on with this? You have every right to ask for what you need. But what we do, you're so wonderful. I love you being in class. You are a picturing of all of us. What do? We get the feelings hurt, we get mad, and then we run and hide. And all we've done is taken our hurt feelings and our anger into the corner and grown it in our lives. And all of a sudden our plants start to die, and our car has a flat tire, and we bounce a check, and we're catching something that's going around. All of that because we allowed ourselves to move into the lie from a basic sense of lack of self-worth in saying that I am not as important. But when we foster that, it's like an infection, and it gets stinky, and it's not pretty. And it's not attracting to us that which we want, which is people coming around us and including us and loving us and us being able to do what we want to do. I mean, this is all personally set up by us. And so as we look around at our lives and see the end result of this, we can backtrack and go, well, how would my life be different if I brought a better me to the mix? If I were able to say, this is not real. There's a higher good going on here. There's a blessing in here, and I'm going to claim that blessing no matter what until it shows up. I'm not going to give up on it. Why? Because I know who I am, because I have great value. And so, of course, nothing would come against me. Nothing can be against me. Everything can only be for me. And so I need to know what's coming up that's for me. I've got a party in here somewhere. Why would I want to give up on it too soon? You know, and I don't speak abstractly here. Last week I was barely holding on. Holy moly. It took me all day to get the glass up. For that matter, Sunday morning I was still walking through here picking broken glass up. Nothing against the floor cleaning, but there was such an energy here of something's trying to hurt me. And I had to really just grab a hold of myself. Nothing can hurt me. Nothing can hurt me. Nothing can hurt you. Nobody can hurt you. Nobody can take away that which is yours, Jane. So you have to claim it as yours. And the only way you can claim something as yours is to love it. And when you love it, it finds you. It'll seek you out in a sea of people. They'll come running up to you going, Jane, can you play a bowl? Because your heart is open and you're in that vibration of love. You can't be angry and play a bowl. The bowl won't let you, much less the people.
Yeah.
So you've got to really be vigilant and watch how you react in life. And it all comes, or a lot of it comes, from this idea that says I'm not as important as other people. You know, the entire world can heal through spiritual mind treatment except me. Everybody else can do this except me, because there's something inherently flawed in me. And Ernest is saying, don't make that story real. You are wonderful. Make that story real. God showed up in form as you. And if you're finding yourself hiding out in a corner with the covers pulled over your head, he says, get up and go do something. Just move around your bedroom. Rearrange the furniture. Go do something to get the clogs out of your life, to get the energy moving in your life, to get your blood flowing and your brain waking up and deciding to do things different. It cracks the door and the light shines in and the darkness goes away. He says it's as simple as rearranging stuff, cleaning stuff, going for a walk, having something different. Francis Leahy, who was one of our practitioners for a long time, used to say, if you're stuck in your life, put your pants on with the other foot first. He said something as simple as that you stop putting your pants on or your shoes on with the same foot and you switch it. And when you switch it, all of a sudden you're not on automatic anymore, you're not a robot anymore. If you're a robot, you're only going to get what you've always gotten. You're not going to have a creative thought to get something new. But oh my gosh, you're putting your shoes on backwards. What's going on? Everything's changed. And we wake up and we do things different, and the universe responds to that. You have no idea how much power you wield. And when we wield it in such a way as we hurt ourselves, we're flabbergasted that, oh my gosh, all of these amazing things have happened and now I'm hurt. No, 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 no. You did that. You did that. And since you did that, you can do it different. If you didn't do that, then there's no hope. If you didn't do what's going on right now, then there's no hope for anybody. You can never change it. But if you did that, no matter how far away it seems, if you did that, even by you noticing the negative people in the periphery, they can be there blabbing all they want. If you don't notice them, you didn't do that. So if you did that, then you can change it. And I'm all about the change. I'm not going to give up on anything. I don't care if it's politics or wars or bombs or GMOs or whatever. I'm not going to give up on anything. We can have the life we want through the choices and the thoughts that we think. Such is the power of our lives, that we can create anything. Masaru Emoto taught us that we can change the crystallization of water molecules simply by typing a word and putting it on a bottle. And then he went to the most polluted lake in northern Japan. It was awful. People couldn't get near it. It stunk so much. And they simply made a circle at dawn and did a simple Buddhist blessing. It was 30 days, and the papers were writing about it. No one knows what has happened to Lake Kilimanjaro or something like that. And on top of it all, it was full of fish. Where did the fish come from? Everything was dead. So what can we do with our lives? What can we do with our bodies? What can we do with our finances? What can we do with a bowl? What can we do inside of us to stop being stagnant, to bring ourselves up to our rightful worth, and to ask for what we want? But we cannot ask from anger. If we ask from anger, it's called picking a fight. Picking a fight is not what I'm talking about. Simply saying, I'm experiencing this in love, and I want to experience more. And to be honest with yourself, you know, I'm such a liar. I was going to say we're all such liars, but I'll just own it myself. I'm such a liar that I'll tell myself that I'm feeling something that I'm not feeling, and then wonder why it doesn't work out. Oh, sure, I'll do that. I'll go there. I'll do this. I'll give you that. And if I don't really take the time to work on my feelings, then I'll screw it all up. But if I take the time to work on my feelings and I can really bring to the mix the best of me, then I get the best back. Does that make sense? Good, 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 good. Now to my notes. Do you have any questions about the reading last week?
I have a question about the pages you have on the board,
Yes.
because they're not the same as what you gave us.
I know, I gave you that one at the end of last class, and everybody told me it was wrong, so I just forgot about it. Because I don't do well with that.
Well, because the book doesn't have that many pages, that's
Sure it
right.
does.
59 pages.
Just read the whole
59
book.
pages are in this.
Oh, well, that's not the book I'm using.
This is the Creative Mind of Success.
I know, I'm using a regular book.
Oh, so you're saying that the pages in the regular book are different from this?
Yes, they are.
Gotcha.
Yes, yes. Just read the book. It's a little book, you can read it in a week. It's a really good book. Just read the book. Read the book. Okay. Let us take a deep breath. And then let it go. Our lives are not ruled by pages. Our lives are ruled by our thoughts, about how we see ourselves, about our intention and our courage. It's courageous to take responsibility for your life. It's courageous to be a spiritual being, to not just react the way everyone else does in race consciousness. It takes courage for you to say, I can do that better, and I'm going to do it again and bring a better me. When I was studying with Will Rocking Bear, he would have us go back to people and say, remember when I just did blah, blah, blah? I want to redo that. I want to do it in a better way. I want to be more honest. I want to be more open. I want to be more clear. And then we would have to go through it all over again. But the next time we were tempted to pull back and go hide in the corner, it was more difficult because we knew we were going to have to go back and clean it up. And so it became the better path, although in the moment it took more courage to be honest with ourselves and someone else. Just like Rick to say, no, I really want to go back inside and read. That's what I was planning on doing. It doesn't mean I don't love you. It doesn't mean I don't support you. It doesn't mean I don't want to be with you. I just want to read. And I love and support and want to be with me also. Not necessarily higher or lower, although I tell you, if push comes to shove, you better pick you. You know, if push comes to shove, you better pick you, because if you don't pick you, you won't have anything to bring. If you keep having to pick you, I question the motive. If you keep in a relationship where it's either them or me, I'm going to pick me. It's either them or me, I'm going to pick me. It's either them or me, I'm going to pick me. I question the whole process. Because when you're used to being valued, you can be amazingly generous. When you're used to valuing yourself and having value. When you've gone through all of those experiences in your life that end up creating a story where you go through the same psychological pain that you went through in the past, you're stuck and you're sluggish, then you have so much energy and clarity inside of you that if you're in a relationship with someone and they need something, you just give it. Just give it. Sure, I've got plenty. It's like the story that John used to tell about a white guy that went to a native Sundance or some kind of a ceremony, and he had a true story, he had an eagle feather in his hat. A young native man came up to him and said, how dare you bring that eagle feather into our sacred ceremony? You have no right to take to have an eagle feather. Technically, legally, we don't. White people don't. Native people do. But he said, you have no right to have that eagle feather. I'm going to take it from you. And the guy looked at him and said, you cannot take it from me. I give it to you. And he had to be clear enough who he was to give it. I got a call last night from the person who used to drive my dog's car, the Xterra that's parked out there, Melissa's car. And she said, I don't have a car, I'm in Raleigh, I really need a car, I want to buy the car, and would that be okay? And I thought, I have 3 cars, one of which is my dog's car. She has no cars. This doesn't take anything away from me as a person. Of course you can have the car. The fact that you want to pay me money for it is just a perk. Wonderful, you can have the car. Of course you can have the car. And I was checking myself out. Are you just bowing to social pressure? Are you just trying to look good? No, we have 3 cars. It's like what they used to do in Polynesia. Somebody has 6 kids, the neighbor doesn't have any kids. They take the one over and they say, here, I'll give you a kid. They used to really do that. They do it really clean and clear. And so everybody was able to have children. And everybody grew up together. Sure, you can have the car. I give you the feather. I know who I am, and I am so clear about who I am that I can give to who you are. That's what a practitioner does. They are so clear about who they are and what's going on that they become the bridge from who you think you are to who you truly are. Because they know who they are. Just think about how the world shifts from to, of course, I'll give you this. Because I know who I am is not contingent upon my stuff or what you think of me or my circumstances. I know who I am and I can give from that sense of fullness. So I figured that Bliss has now paid for part of her invisible fence that went in today.
Is that what the flags are?
The flags are a professionally installed invisible fence, yes. And a little less than half of it did cost a car. So when you come from a sense of fullness about who you are, it's easy to love. And yes, if you need to pick you, you better pick you, but if you keep putting yourself in a position where you have to pick, something's wrong. Because then you're coming from an empty place instead of a full place. And if you've attracted someone who always wants you to pick you and gets mad at you if you go in to read and says, no, you owe me, you better come out and watch me plant bulbs or help or whatever, then that is an out of balance relationship also, coming from a sense of a lack of self-worth. So this all comes together in this wonderful balance of who we think we are and the beliefs and the choices that are made from that, and who we truly are, and the beliefs that we cultivate and the choices that we consciously make coming from that. And then when we set that creative energy in motion, we're bringing to us things that are of a higher quality, a higher vibration than the things we brought from the past, and that is called growth. That is how we say our lives get better and better, because we don't keep going down, we start coming up. And some people say, well, I want to be way up on top of the mountaintop. Well, great, just keep taking another step. And sooner or later you will be. But to look at your personal growth and say, I haven't grown enough, that's not picking you. Picking you is saying, wow, look how far I've come. Wow, I looked at myself as a child. That child had no business being me. That child had to change completely to become me. And the person that I am today has no connection with the child that I was, in that child would have grown up to be me. So I had to do all of this changing inside of me to get a different foundation and a different roots and a different structure so that I could be who I want to be today. But in order to do that, I had to stop being that other person. And I'll grant you, it was hard at times. Boy, I wanted to cling. I wanted to be a victim. I wanted to be angry. I wanted to be poor. Isn't that crazy? Barbara Waterhouse at one time in her life wanted to be poor because it supported my victim consciousness and my position of myself that I had told to myself in the world. I could prove it. I was poor. And to stop that and to make different changes, to think different thoughts and to take different actions asks a lot of you. But when you do that, when you look at something and say, that's not real unless I make it real. I am the one who breathes life into this story. And if I don't choose to bring life into this story, it will die. And I can bring life into another story. Wow, what amazing power you have. And so we claim the good in things. We say, you know, some people think that we're a little pie in the sky. A traffic jam is only for me. It's all for my good. Yay. Isn't that wonderful that all the traffic lined up to slow me down so I would be in my perfect and right place, because I am always in my perfect and right place. How could I ever not be in my perfect and right place? I am God in form as me. Of course, there is always perfect and right placeness. In the entire idea of place, it has to be perfect and right, which means all those cars lined up for me. Isn't that great? And the truth is they did. People went out of their way to be late, to get into accidents, to have to stop and buy things. Also, they could stack up in front of you so that you could be in your perfect and right place. When you think thoughts like that, the universe says, oh, you're in your perfect and right place for all good things to come to you, and so all good things come to you. Instead of, damn this traffic, I'm always late, everything is always going wrong. And then you sitting in the same place, the universe says, you are damned, everything always goes wrong, things can happen to stop you from doing what you want to do, and that's what you get. It is absolutely amazing how we are not monitoring our every word and our every thought and our every feeling at every moment, every experience, every day. It's amazing that knowing how powerful we are and what we can do and how we can flip things around and bring the good out of something and send the other one back into the nothingness from whence it came, to be healthy or to be sick, to be prosperous or to be poor, how we don't do that. You know, 2 weeks ago when I was talking about the end of the Creative Mind book, and Ernest says, wake up! Now that you know these things, if you don't use them, he might have said we were stupid. I think he might have used that word. But certainly we were not evolving, we were not growing and expanding. He said, wake up! And so knowing the power that we wield, that at any moment we can choose, just makes me stop in awe of who we are. And when you start being in awe of who you are, what happens to your self-worth?
Skyrocket.
It skyrockets. You're not a victim. You're not at an effect of the circumstances of life. It doesn't matter what the economy is doing or the government is doing or the city of Asheville is doing. It doesn't matter whether the invisible fence broke or the dogs found a bag of garbage or somebody broke in. It doesn't matter. What matters is what you do with it. If you beat yourself up for creating the life that you've created, you've simply gone backwards. Take yourself and lift yourself up. Oh, this is good. Don't beat yourself up, lift yourself up. If you lift yourself up and change the story and have a different sense of who you are, then things will work out differently. Ernest was kind of pompous. He went to a place once, like an arboretum, and he loved roses. And there was one rose bush that was not doing well, and he demanded to see who took care of that rose bush. And he said, I'm Ernest Holmes, and I want to know what you're doing to take care of this rose bush. Well, the rose bush is sick. No, that is absolutely not okay. I want to see your supervisor. Go get them. I'm Ernest Holmes. I want to know what you plan to do about this rose bush. He was quite full of himself because he wanted to make sure that that rose bush was cared for. And I think by the time it was all over, they had this big plan to take care of this one rose bush because he was Ernest Holmes. He was quite full of himself because he spent a lot of time every day feeling the fullness and the bigness of him. Remember, he said, don't just go buy a car, own the entire auto industry. Think big thoughts. Identify yourself with big stuff. I want you to learn to be selfish because I want you to be big. I want you to be big, and I don't want you to cave just because someone looks at you and goes, boo, you can't do this. You shouldn't be doing that. Who do you think you are? Well, Ernest would say, well, I'm Ernest Holmes. I'm Barbara Waterhouse. That's who I think I am, and I'm pretty hot stuff. And if my choice is to live my life as hot stuff or cold stuff, I'll take the hot stuff and I'll take the heat. So what? These are our choices because we have so much power going on, and all of these conscious choices are so intrinsically connected with old belief systems that sure, we can dig down and spend a lot of time coming up with belief systems and trying to figure out a way to change them, or we can just change our now moment and it'll just grab everything inside of us and carry it along. We'll just wash ourselves clean of all of the old stories and all the old experiences by taking movement and action in our consciousness as well as in the outer parts of our lives, and watch everything shift. Being constipated at any level is the worst thing that you can do. It creates disease on a physical level. If your blood is not flowing, if you're not breathing, if you're not thinking, if you're not paying attention, if your energy is sluggish, you will pay the price by having not a life that gets better and better, but by having a life that gets worse and worse. So really, that's the choice. That's the choice, and you guys know who you are. So the choice is that you make all the time, whether you're sitting in traffic, whether someone says you can't play the bowls, whether somebody else says, why are you bothering me about Publix? I have nothing to do with Publix. Whatever it is, if you do it with an open heart and if you ask for what you want, you will not be trampling the people around you. Wallace Wattles says that if you lift yourselves up from the creative point of mind, you will lift everyone else up around you. That's what we do. We keep our hearts open and we're surrounded by people who have open hearts. We take action on our own behalf. Whatever it takes. If you don't feel like moving, things have gotten pretty bad. And so what you need to do is move. On the inside, on the outside, in your thoughts, and in your words. And yes, sometimes it may not be comfortable. Sometimes it may be more comfortable to stay feeling small, victimized, angry, upset, and hurt. But then all you do is get a small, victimized, angry, upset, and hurt life. And who in the world wants that? Let's take a break. Mike, we're driving in from Tennessee. I think that we get out of things what we put in them. And so as we place great value on something, we get great value back. Yeah. So, in alignment with our book, the person who can control his thought can have and do what he wishes to have and do. It's all about controlling our thought. It's all about being able to ask for what we want, not just to go along the road. Can I talk about you, Lynn?
Oh, of course.
So Lynn goes to see an attorney about getting her rightful money out of the accident that she was in, and she brings a contract with the attorney to sign with her. All about intention and thought and focus and knowing that she gets what she wants out of it, and she has the attorney sign her contract. Usually you go to an attorney and they want you to sign their contract, not when you know who you are. Now, what do you think the difference is going to be in the outcome with someone who goes to an attorney and has them in alignment with what they want instead of just being one of the masses and this is where you fit in? She's going to get what she wants. And if there is anybody that I have ever met that gets what she wants, it's Lynn Villa, because she will ask. She will ask for it. If you don't have enough self-esteem to ask for what you want, then who do you think you are? And not who do you think you are, but who do you think you are? You are God-informed. That means that you get to not only ask, but you get to command life to support you in what you want. I used to use a phrase that I place a demand upon the givingness of the universe. Part of that was because I was called very often a demanding child. You're such a demanding child. And then I flipped and thought that was a bad thing, and then I made peace with it and loved it. I love to demand. I love to command. But you have to do that from a place of strength, and you have to do it not trampling anyone around you, but lifting everyone up. Somebody's got to shine their light, or everybody's going to be in darkness. That's what the blind leading the blind means. So there's no failure in divine mind. He says not to worry. These are all ways that you're going to experience success. He says don't take the worry on, which is interesting in and of itself. Like you're taking worry and you're putting it on you. It's not that, well, I just worry, I'm just awake in the middle of the night worrying. No, you're not. You took worry and brought it into your life. Because if worry happens to you, you're a victim, there's nothing that you can do about it, you're stuck, you're screwed. If you take worry and put it on you, then you're in charge of your worry. And you can take it and put it back down. And then, he says, you get to the point where you just don't take it. Don't take the worry. Hey, sailor, I'm your worry. There's some really important things going on to worry about. Danger might be out there. He says, just don't go there. Don't take it. Don't get hooked. Don't look at it. Don't talk about it. Don't breathe life into it. Because all you're doing is thinking about what you don't want to have happen and creating that. It's like faith and fear are the exact same thing. Fear is just faith that what you don't want to happen is going to happen. Perfect faith. People say, oh, I don't have any faith. Sure you do. You're full of faith. You're just full of faith in the things that you don't want to have happen. So hello, you're driving down the road going to California when you want to be going to the Atlantic Ocean. At some point when you realize you're going west instead of east, you must turn the car around. So at some point when you realize that all of your fear is simply faith going in the direction you don't want to go, you have to do whatever it takes to turn it around. And part of that is looking at what you're thinking about, what you're focused on, what you're believing is going to happen. My talk on Sunday was, so what? You know, what's your biggest fear? Oh, that is going to be terrible. So what? You're still going to be okay. What's your biggest fear? Oh, I'll go out of business. So what? You're still going to be okay. You go bankrupt, you'll be okay. God knows, you get divorced, you're going to be okay. You get diagnosed, you're going to be okay. You die. So what? You're going to be okay. So there comes a point of time with your fear when you've got to say, I'm bigger than your fear, I'm bigger than my fear, and I say, so what? I'm not going to let you run me anymore. And then you start creating this idea of using your faith in a positive and uplifting way, to where people say, well, you just always have a wonderful attitude, you just always know the good is happening, and you just get the good all the time. Yes, I do, because that's what I choose. He says that what you want to do is, he talks about this a little bit differently back in the beginning. And one thing is, he says that spirit, first of all, he says that mind creates, not you. You're not creating. In the textbook, Ernest says that man doesn't create, he discovers and uses. You're not creating. There's a force that is always creating. And what you do is you direct it. He says that all is mind, nothing moves, but that mind moves it. So it doesn't matter how big it is. All is mind and nothing moves, but that mind moves it. And we are a center. That's Trower. We are a center of divine operation. We are a center in mind. And he says that our thoughts are deciding success or failure. We are the reason for what happens in our life. And he says what you want to do is you want to create a receptivity so that as mind is moving, it's coming into your life. I know it's a little dualistic languaging. It's coming into your life, and your receptive nature, which comes with a good sense of self, is going to open up a mental equivalent, a mold, something that is going to allow you to accept that. He says you have to become receptive to the good that is already flowing into your life. That you have to become open so that you can take it. Sometimes I see money flying around. Like there's just so much money. It's just, do you see that, Lynn? There's just money flying around. And I wonder, what is it that I have to do so that I grab it instead of it flies on by to the next person? So I need to open and become receptive to that good that is already coming into my life, instead of going, oh, it's terrible, there's nothing good is ever going to happen to me, and then it comes into my life, but then it goes out. So that's a different mindset from the idea that says, I'm going to do my affirmations and do my treatment work and I'm going to create this thing. He says, no, it's already flying in your life. All of the good, all of the joy, all of the success, all of the happiness is already moving in your life. What we need to do is we need to open up our consciousness so that we become open and receptive to that which is already moving. Does that feel different?
Yes.
Lynn?
I would love to share something that. It involves drawing pictures though. Can I do that?
You want to come up and draw?
Yeah.
Sure. You're Lynn Villa. Of course you can.
I just saw this, experienced it in an altered state, but it was good. So everything that Barbara said, like about taking it. So this is you, and you have all these, you had all these ideas that formed. Car, house, relationship. As soon as he had the thought, it went somewhere, right? sitting somewhere unformed. So the realization I had recently was, you gotta take it, like, Robert says, take it. And not like take it in a negative way, but like, you gotta reach out and grab it. So I saw that when you open up your consciousness enough, that you actually create this vortex, okay? And once your mind opens up and creates that vortex, you can literally stick your hand in here, grab this, and bring it into form.
Yay.
So, if anyone else wants a little bit more detail on that, you can ask me, but exactly what she said, but I actually saw that.
Thank you. Thank you. So what we're doing then is creating that movement of energy. Do you see this? This is not stagnant. This is not sedentary. This is not constipated. This is a lot of energy. And so how do you create that energy in your life? You move out, you get excited, you try new things, you step out, you're willing to change, and the energy starts to move, and you can feel it starting to cook. And I appreciate all of the meditation time and all of that. That's wonderful. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about opening up to the presence of spirit, moving through your life, moving into you, bringing stuff, experiences, elevated consciousness, whatever it is, desire of the Father, bringing it into your life. And do you just sit there and watch it go by? Or do you open up and somehow grab it? And there's a movement to the grabbing, there's an energy to the grabbing, there's a spinning to the grabbing, you know, and what you're doing, I guess Abraham would say that you're raising your vibration so that you match that thing that's vibrating at a higher level than where you are so that you can connect with it. If you say, oh, I want $1 million, my true love, the job of my dreams, and to travel the world, but oh, I suck and life is just awful, you're never going to make that. And then you think that that wasn't there, when in reality it's been chasing you down all of your life. Saying, here's your prosperity, here's your love, here's your joy, here's your success, here it is. And you go, oh no, I don't deserve it, that's not for me. My mother told me I was an awful person. No, you can't do that anymore. If you want to experience the level of life that is waiting for you, anyone who can control their thoughts can have whatever they want to have. If you want to experience that level of life that is waiting for you, then you've got to get up and live at that level. That's why fake it till you make it works. That's why vision board works. That's why going for a test drive. And even that, you're not really fully embracing it. You're just cracking the door to think that maybe there's a possibility that you could get that. But that's why it works, because you open up and allow something in your life, and we think we've got to chase our good down. The universe is chasing us down. It's saying, I have so much for you. And all we have to do is stop running so fast that it catches us. So what we're looking at is, what are we willing to do to see ourselves differently? What are we willing to do to stand straight and tall? What are we willing to do to have what we want to have? And for most people, even in this kind of a teaching, it has to do with, I'm willing to put myself out more, I'm willing to work longer hours, I'm willing to raise my vibration, I'm willing to focus more on it, to do more affirmations, more treatments, and really all we need to do is stop running so fast. Are we willing to stop running away from who we are? It goes back to the Marianne Williamson of who am I to be wonderful and big and great? Well, who are you not to? The world is not served by you playing small. So at what point do we start using our words, our thoughts, our language? He says, in the very short section on money, he says if you want to have prosperity and money, you have to stop talking about lack and limitation. You just have to. And that means even if it's your best friend, your brother, and they want to talk about all the poor me's and the ain't it awfuls, if you do that, you have just run away from all of this amazing good that is seeking you out. So it goes back to, can you control what you think about? It is probably the most difficult thing you will ever do. But when you get that thinking about things that feel bad feels bad, and thinking about things that feel good feels good, it's easier to make the jump. And then you start feeling bad and you go, wait a minute, what did I do? Because it was me. It may have sounded like it was on the news. It may have sounded like it was the neighbor. It may have been something that appears to be totally out of my control, but it was me because I did that, because I create my experience. I made it real. I breathed life into it. What did I do? And then what am I willing to do to have it differently? What am I willing to do? And then the great thing for me is, like, no matter how screwed up you are, you're going to have a great life. No matter how few tools you have, you're going to have a great life. Serendipity will happen. Synchronicity will happen. There'll be quote-unquote coincidences that will occur in your life to lift you up. And whatever it is you need, you will have if you can learn to stop thinking thoughts of destruction, which for me always comes from a lack of self-worth. Why do we want to punish ourselves? We can project it onto an anthropomorphic deity, but it's always from us. We want to punish ourselves because we think there's something flawed. Otherwise, how could they have sold original sin? I mean, how could they have sold that to millions of people? It's ridiculous. And yet people bought it hook, line, and sinker because it gave them something to pin their lack of self-worth onto. Did you have your hand up, Ann? Yes.
Well, you can introduce.
I'm done.
I was just thinking, since I've been coming to the center so much, obviously because I wanted to create and I needed help on how to be able to go about doing that. And one Sunday you gave me the greatest gift and you talked about your relationship growing up and how you decided, you used to tell the story because then you want to explain to people how far
Right.
you've gotten in that comparison. You just decided to just change that story. And that was like this little light bulb because I had been struggling with how to forgive my parents. I've done the therapy, I've been praying for them, meditate, visualize.
You hit the pillow.
No, I didn't do it kind of smacking with a pillow. Been angry, because even allowing myself to be angry, I wasn't even able to do that over the years. And I would find myself still going back, thinking, okay, it's healed now, it's all good, and then I'd go back, something would set me back. And that Sunday when you told the story about changing the story, I left that Sunday and I decided that my story was my parents loved me so much. They valued me so much that they even bought me a freaking home.
Yay.
And I was trying to tell that to a friend of mine that she called me and told me that, she tried to commit suicide. And I said, this may sound really simple. It was years of struggling with this, but something just clicked with me about the stories that I tell myself and the power that I give those stories, the influence that they have over me. And when I decided to change that story, that it was just my time, I actually felt more worthy. I actually felt what it would feel like to be that little girl who had parents who just loved the crap out of her.
Right.
The power and how that would feel inside. And I've not had to forgive them since then. It was just that they're here in my life. Well, they're way away. But it's given me the power to be able to love my mother because, I see that she's just dying for love. She grew up feeling unworthy herself. And
So what you bring to the mix now is the healing
yeah.
instead of the sickness.
Right.
Yeah.
And now I'm working on
Really, that's your job.
and I've been sitting here listening to you thinking, okay, what about consistency? How can I get it to be consistent? Because I get into that energy and it's intoxicating when you realize that everything that you think that you create and you feel it coming to you, feel
it's on the way. Even if you're not seeing it right in front of you, you know it's on the way. And then I get into a funk, and I don't know whether it's hormones or whether it's on the past, and, you know, then my thoughts get kind of funky, and I'm like, okay, where can I get this, you know, I need to go, I'm a creator. So if I don't get myself out of this funk, I'm gonna start creating some stuff that I really don't like.
Faster and faster and faster.
Right, yeah. So, yes, so I had these rituals that I was doing. I check marks for Lynn, my gift for Lynn. I'm gonna say, whether it's something positive, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Tony Robbins, or something positive, because I've just decided
Barbara
that.
Waterhouse.
Right. You're on YouTube as well too. I'm watching Creative Mind and Health, or is it Creative Mind? Well, anyway, you're on there as well too, to replace the negativisms that I have just allowed to dominate. You know, and I was saying to my brother when I was talking to him this morning, I said, I don't know what it is about the human condition that a bad habit just sticks on you like white on rice. You just can't get rid of that shit. You do it 2 or 3 times, and it's there. It's calling your name. A good habit?
It's race consciousness. It's race consciousness that is so alluring about being fearful, being lack, having life be a struggle, so that when we move into that, it's easier for us to get sucked in to the consciousness of the other 7.5 billion people instead of those little light bearers going, everything is great, we chose this, everything's changing, well, it's wonderful, life is wonderful. So it's your job to be the healing presence. It's your job to rise above. It's your job to let it go. And it's your job to have the wherewithal to stop screwing up and to shift your focus and what you do and have your life be different. If we can't change our lives with all of the tools that we have, what in the world hope is there for the rest of the people on the planet? They have real problems. They had real troubles. We have stories. And if we can change our stories, we can change our lives. If we can control our thought, we can control our lives. But whether it's, I want to create a car, a house, or a relationship, or whether it is, I am just vibrating in the bliss and good is sticking to me now, like white on rice, things are seeking me out, then what we're doing, whether it's specific or whether it's general, we are lifting up our vibration, and I believe we are lifting everybody else up around us. That's why I love that Wallace Wattles books, which you can download the written book or the audio recording from our website for free. He says that if you're clear about who you are and you get rich in this world in clarity, you lift everybody else up around you. And I want to do that. I would assume you want to do that. This idea of competition and tromping and the only way I can feel good is to make you feel bad, that's limited and crazy making. The idea that we're all awakening great spiritual beings and we're all rising up is something that's opening and freeing, and the more you open and free, the more good comes into your life, because you're vibrating at a higher level with all of these wonderful things, and it may look like something or it may just be something that never happened. I equally like those things. Well, I don't get sick. Isn't that great? Yes. I don't need to have that in my life. I don't have those kinds of experiences. Running out of gas, getting flat tires, they just don't happen to me because I'm moving in a different vein. That's why the break-ins just really threw me for a loop.
Yeah.
It's like, what is up with that? But you know, I've just kind of moved on. What is, it is, let's go on. And like Lynn, I'm planning on us getting more money out of that than we spent on everything, so that it's a win-win for us when we allow ourselves to vibrate at that greater level and understand that we don't have to go running after our good and seeking it, that what we need to do is understand that it's already manifested here, and what we do is open to it. Then we can have things happen, we can have things that might have happened that don't happen, we can have things that may have taken 20 years ago to set in motion that happen for us today, that includes all kinds of people, or it can be one very special person. Our life is different because we've had the courage to control our thoughts. And it is that simple. What makes someone get to the point where they're going to commit suicide? Their thoughts. They made it real. They breathed life into it. Suicide is a long-term solution for a short-term problem. Abraham says if we knew what was on the other side, we'd all jump off the bridge. So let's not be in judgment about it. But it is our thought that puts us in that situation to have the experience that we are having. You good? That's good. He says you got to be clear that you have to let go of believing that good things won't happen to you. And I think that again goes back to self-worth. Believing that you're stuck. Believing that there's no way out. Believing that good things happen to other people but not you. He says you have to find it within yourself to let go of that. And to learn how to begin to expect that good things happen. You know what a good way is to learn how to expect that good things happen? Notice the good things that are happening. So many times we completely ignore the great things that are going on in our life, and so we don't get more great things. And you can just find one little thing, a daffodil, and appreciate it and notice how great it is. We're moving into springtime in the mountains. It's breathtaking. The cherry trees and the red buds and the dogwoods and all of that bursting forth into beauty. I remember one year I was so busy I missed spring. And I was very concerned about my well-being, that I had let myself get so busy that I just looked around, it was summer. What happened to spring? I missed it. Wow, how could I have let myself do that? And I had a real talking to myself and change of ways that I was living, because I don't want to miss spring. Because if I miss spring here, I'm going to miss all kinds of other good things there. So find what it is that is going well in your life and notice it and be grateful for it. And what you'll do is you'll notice all of these other wonderful things that are happening, and wonderful things will seek you out. David.
On the drive in tonight to the center, I was very aware of the need to count all the patches of blooms that I saw in the drive-in. It was like I was driving.
That's not obsessive control.
Watching and counting blooming trees and
Isn't it beautiful?
It's just, I felt the need though. I just wanted to see it.
Yeah, yeah, so you
To be
didn't miss
alive.
it.
To be alive.
To be alive, I want to be alive. And life says, I bring you all of life, as opposed to, I want to be dead. You see the difference there? I want to be alive, and I want to be around other people who want to be alive. I want to live a life that is overflowing. And so I have to notice the overflowing. I have to take hold of myself and focus on what I want no matter what. And if something else happens, I say, so what? You don't own me. You're not bigger than me. He says, your belief creates the mold. And again, mind creates, not you as an individual, you as spirit create. So there is no will here. There's no force. There's no effort. If you're creating with effort, you're creating from a lower level. You want to raise your vibration, rise up in consciousness, and create from a place where you're noticing how many daffodils there are. How many patches of beauty there are in your life, and then all of a sudden somebody comes into your life and you go, you're a patch of beauty. You know, an opportunity shows up, it's another patch of beauty because you're vibrating at that level, and mind is constantly influxing itself in and through and as you, as all of these amazing, beautiful, wonderful things. So you learn to open to it, not chase it down, open to it and catch it. Spin that energy, create a vortex that sucks it in on the tractor beam. Have the guts to ask for what you really want, and watch how life gives it. He says you're not wishing, you're not longing, you're not hoping for something, that you're noticing that it's already here. You don't have to go out and find it or create it or make it happen. You're noticing that it's already here. And if you have to make that up in your mind, make it up. You know, that's how people create cars. God, we built this movement on how to create cars and relationships and all that stuff. You go to the car dealership, you sit in it, you smell it, you drive it, you visualize it, you fantasize about it. Mandy.
So what you just said, how does that work with treat and move your feet?
If there's something for you to do, you do it. You want to get the energy going. He says that if you're opening to success in your life and you're not seeing it, don't get stagnant, take action. But you're taking action knowing that you're not chasing something, you're not having to create it. Oh my God, you know how many people come to me and say, oh, I have these terrible thoughts and I'm creating my reality and I'm doing it all wrong. It's like, no, we don't want to use this teaching to beat ourselves up. That's just the old thing with a new word. What we're doing is we're opening up to that presence of spirit moving into our lives, just lavishing us with all of these great things. And maybe it's time to go to this group, this meeting thing, this learn about this thing. Maybe it's time to take out a lease on a place of business or do something. I don't know what that might be for you. He says if nothing is happening, rearrange the furniture, clean, move a bunch of product around. Just get your energy going, because the race consciousness is hold back, stay small, be afraid, tighten up, shrink down. And he's saying you got to do the opposite of that. You've got to open up and move out. Go get a $300 spa date. That's all about opening up and moving out. Do it different. Put your pants on a different leg at a time. Do it different. Think a different thought and get a different life.
Water goes stagnant if it doesn't move.
Oh, everything does. It's awful. You take anything that can't move and it's dead. It's dead. So you've got to move, even when you don't know why you're moving or where you're moving to, you're just going to move. Because it's better than being stagnant. Living is better than dying. He says you got to have more backbone and less wishbone. So don't be afraid to take action. Don't be afraid to risk. People are so afraid to risk. Well, if I go into this business, what if I fail? What if I lose everything? You can't lose anything. Nothing can be taken from you. That which is yours is yours. It may change form, but always know that you have plenty for this moment in time, and you will always have plenty for this moment in time. When you're wanting to have an insurance amount so that if something goes wrong, you've got something to fall back on, he says that's a stagnant energy. And that doesn't mean that you close out your 401k and sell off all of your extra properties and things like that. But what you do is you know that you always have more than enough right now, and you move that energy. And if there's something for you to do, do it. You know how many loves have been lost because nobody had the guts to go up and say hello? Really? Yeah. Yeah. Go up and say hello. They may reject me. So what? You think that you're less than somebody else's opinion of you? Terry Cole Whitaker said, what you think of me is none of my business. None of my business. What I think of me is my business. So if I do something and it has the appearance of failure, I can't fail. Spirit as me cannot fail. There is no failure. There's only a blessing here. And whether or not I see it or whether or not I just know that it's there for the rest of my life, it's a blessing because I claimed it as such. So he's saying move the energy. You think highly enough of yourself to be able to say, who's taking care of this rose bush? This rose bush needs attention. Who's in charge of the rose bush? Who's going to take care of it? And you're saying about yourself, who's taking care of what I want? What's happening here? There is someone that I want to do something so that my life is better. Who's going to paint my house? Who's going to show me where I want to live? Who's going to sell me my car? Whatever it is, not to shy away from that you are supposed to be, instead of copping out and being the you that you were never meant to be. And you know the difference. You absolutely know the difference. Jane.
I had a wonderful experience years ago. I was in the library at Columbia studying, and this guy, older than me, and a handsome guy, came up to me and he said, I've just passed my exams and I'm gonna get a PhD, and I'm so excited, and he said, will you go out on a date with me? And I just looked at him and I thought, I don't know this guy. And
Was that Leon?
Huh?
Was that Leon?
No.
Did you go?
No, I wish I had.
There you So it's always a choice between security and freedom. I'll take freedom any day. I'll take freedom any day over security. I will take being gullible over being cynical any day. And I'll pay the price for it, but I don't care, because I believe you pay a higher price to give up your freedom for security and to give up your trust so that you can be cynical. And there are plenty of people out there in the world thinking that life is out to hurt them and that they have to always be on guard. And those people get sick and they die. And they're not happy. So it's all about your choices in life. It's all about minute-to-minute choices. Ernest says that if you're interested in life, life will be interested in you. Just like anybody else. So if you take an interest in life and you move out into life, you create a farm with baby goats and chickens and all that kind of thing because you're interested in that, then that interest will come back and life will go, oh, you're the kind of person that wants new stuff. Well, here's a new thing for you. Oh, you're the kind of person that wants to enjoy this. Here's a thing for you. Oh, you're this kind of person that's bringing in huge amounts of cash. Here's something for you. If you are putting that energy out, it must come back to you. And so our job is to be alive, not dead. To move out instead of shrink in. To stand up instead of fall down. And the way that we do that is by how we think of ourselves. The conversations that go on inside of our head are very revealing. You may want to check out whose voice that is. Whether or not you want to continue to do that, or whether or not you want to risk being something different toward the goal of grabbing a hold of who you know yourself to be. You know, I'm a public person, and I'm not your normal kind of public person. And so there are times when I get a lot of flack, where people don't appreciate my style. There are some people who think I shouldn't swear as much. Personally, I think I should swear more often, so that we all just realize this is the lexicon of the day, and who are we trying to kid? Oh, we can't say, what was that list that
George
Carlin had? Yeah, the words that you're not allowed to say. I watch Jon Stewart every morning, and he just is a potty mouth.
Yeah, he really is.
But he's brilliant and he's funny. It's amazing what he can do, and he's just not willing to change himself. Because really the only way that he is in his genius is when he's in himself. So there are times when people don't appreciate what I say, how I say it, how I look, what I do. If they caught me on the fly and I wasn't as quite compassionate, open, and loving as they thought that I should be. And it has just really just been so long that that's been that way that I really just don't care anymore.
Yeah.
I just don't care anymore. So, you know, if you have issues that you left me a voicemail that went on for 4 minutes and I never finished hearing it before I just hit delete, then that's your issue, not my issue. My issue is I value myself enough to value my time. And no, I'm not going to be held hostage here just because someone left me a voicemail. If you want to talk to me, come and see me or call me again. I will say what I say, I will believe what I believe, because I trust and have faith in who I am. And the only way that I am really good is when I am really me. You know, yesterday I could have tried to pretend nothing had happened, or I could have had the whole victim thing going on and really stoked the fires of that. But the truth is this is who I am, this is my process, and this is where I'm at. And either that's good enough or it isn't. And if it's not good enough for whoever I'm speaking to, it's still good enough for me. So I'll find somebody else to speak to, that's all. Started off in a trailer in a cornfield. You know, I don't really care what the venue is. I care what I am and who I am, and I encourage you, if you want to be in your genius, you have to be you. You can't try to be someone else and have that creative energy flow. You can't try to tone yourself down. For that matter, the only time real genius and creation has come forward is when people have been just out there. You know, look at Steve Jobs, look at Bill Gates. He was building computers in his mother's garage saying, I am going to give a computer to every person in the country, every person. This is called a personal computer. That's what I'm going to do. And people laughed at him. I mean, Apple fired Steve Jobs because they were out there. You got to be a little crazy in public standards if you're going to be sane inside of your own head. And you know you've done the opposite, where you were looking perfectly normal by the outside and you were going nuts because it wasn't real. So if you want to breathe life into something, breathe life into you. Be honest with yourself. Give yourself some credit that who you are is what was it Carl Rogers said? Who you are is good enough if you would only be it openly. If you would just go ahead and be you, you'd be fine. You'd be fine. Your life would work. You would feel good about who you are. Your relationships would work because you said, I want to go read instead of plant bulbs with you. That's genius. Genius. Right up there when months ago you said what I realized was that my bagel, my burning bagel, I had made more important than my wife. Brilliant. Brilliant. What do you bring into the mix? Who are you? You are the bucket from which you dip to bring to the mix of life. And if you will allow yourself to give yourself some credit as to who you are, that you are you and you have more than enough so that you can be generous if the opportunity calls for it and you feel good about it, then your life will change because you will have mastered your thinking. You would have stopped thinking thoughts that say, I'm not worth it, I'm not okay, I'm not good enough, I shouldn't ask, I shouldn't put myself out there. Security is much more valuable than freedom. You master your thoughts by saying, I have a glimpse of who I am. I may not have it down completely, but I have a sense of who I am meant to be. And I am willing to risk and take action on my behalf in order to bring that experience into my life. That's mastering your thoughts. That's powerful. That's spinning the vortex, and all of a sudden stuff finds you. People find you, opportunity finds you, they seek you out. And in the meantime, if you're not doing anything, get up and move around. Take action. Vibrate at a higher level. He says, great things are done by people who think great thoughts and then go out into the world to make their dreams come true. I believe that you are a people of great things, and that you think great thoughts, and you have the discipline and the control to hold on to that because they will take you on a wild ride, and you will go out into the world and make your dreams come true. Any questions before we close? Oh, I'm so excited. Are you excited? Be excited. Be interested in life. Watch life become interested in you. Move your energy. Jump up and down. Have a good time. Be selfish. Ask for what you want. Take the last cookie, take that which is meant for you. It's not meant to fly by you, it's meant for you, and if you spend more than you thought, don't worry, we live in an abundant universe. Take out what you're gonna give. Will someone go into the Welcome Center and grab me some baskets? Take out what you're gonna give, hold it in your hand, open up to this idea that right here and right now, life is pouring itself into you. And you can have as big as you can hold. And where do we hold it? We hold it in mind. Open up your ideas. Because we can take a lot. A lot, a lot, a lot. A lot of happiness, a lot of excitement, a lot of health, thank you, a lot of wholeness, a lot of joy, a lot of laughter, a lot of excitement, a lot of noticing, a lot of gratitude. We can take a lot, and yet life keeps pouring in, filling us full to overflowing. Right here and right now, I know that each one of us is blessed, and that as we give this gift, we set spiritual law in motion, and our basket gets bigger. Our container gets bigger. That energy that we are, our willingness to accept, gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it gets fuller and fuller and fuller. I know that our lives are rich and full in every way, that we are blessed, and that as we give this gift to the Center for Spiritual Living, that which we are goes with the gift, the excitement, the vibration, the mold. This is fantastic. And I know that each one of us comes together somehow to play our part, to be in that place, to make this a place of peace. It doesn't matter what people are doing on the outside, this is a place of peace, a beacon of light that shines out into the mountains, a tower of strength that so many people can lean on and remind themselves of how strong and powerful they are, and a fountain of wisdom that keeps on giving to inspire and to uplift everyone who calls it home. So it is. Breathe it in, breathe it in, breathe it in, breathe it in. There's gold dust in here. Breathe it in, there's love. There's joy, there's happiness. There's health, there's movement. There are things seeking us out, and we open and accept them. We say yes to life because we say yes to ourselves. We stand spiritually straight and tall. And we live the divine life that we were always meant to live. Each and every one of us is blessed and blessed and blessed again. And I know that that blessing that we are goes out into this world and reminds each and every one of us of who we are. We are magnificent. We are glorious. We are powerful beings of light and love. That is who we are. We are rich right here and right now. And I know that as the entire world awakens, we are all lifted up. That's what we came here for. That's who we're supposed to be. And together we say, and so it is. Love you guys. Have a wonderful week.